This $54,000 2025 Toyota Tacoma is a bit of a unicorn, and in this video, I'll go into detail on that. And I will say the most unique thing about this pickup truck is the fact that, well, you may have already guessed it, we have a manual transmission in this Tacoma. Yes, a 3-pedal taco, if you will, with a 6-speed manual transmission. This is the only mid-size pickup truck on the market that still offers a manual transmission. You can't get it in any other model, which is one of the benefits of the Tacoma being the best seller in the segment. They can do stuff like having a segment exclusive 6-speed manual transmission to make gearheads like me just that much more happy. And so to that end, I'm gonna do something I don't normally do in reviews for Tim. I'm actually gonna drive this one around in the city because this 6-speed manual is really the biggest selling point to me for this pickup truck. But there are some limitations to how you can get a 3-pedal taco. In order to get a 3-pedal taco, you're limited to one of the Toyota Tacoma's 2 engine options. Yes, we all know Toyota ditched the V6 in their midsize Tacoma in favor of 2 4-cylinder options, and this is the lesser of those two. This is the standard iForce turbocharged 4-cylinder, not the iForce Max hybrid. It's the only offered engine with that manual transmission. Here it makes 270 horsepower, 310 pound-feet of torque, sending power through that manual transmission to all 4 wheels via an electronic 2-speed transfer case. And yes, we do have an electric locking rear differential here on this one as well. As we come across the front of our Terra painted TRD Off-Road, one of the most notable things that I want to point out is the fact that we do not have the front chin plastic up front like we do on a lot of other trims, helping this vehicle's approach angle. We also have that TRD stamped front skid plate here protecting the underbody up underneath the chin and giving us more confidence when off-road. And unlike the larger Tundra, Tacoma retains its front tow hooks, which is a very welcome addition here on this best-selling midsize pickup truck. Our model also gets updated lighting, not in the incandescent turn signals, but in the optional rigid branded white-only fog lamps here on our particular tester. Another thing that makes this TRD Off-Road a TRD Off-Road are our 17-inch machine-faced aluminum wheels wrapped in these BF Goodrich Trail Terrain all-terrain tires that do give us a lot more traction off-road versus something like a TRD Sports tire and wheel package. TRD Off-Roads also get red Bilstein off-road shocks at all 4 corners. Our model is also equipped with frame-mounted rock rails that protect the underside of the body when venturing off the pavement. TRD Off-Roads also get a wider stance, which necessitate these plastic over-fenders, and given that this has an off-road focus, well, they are black plastic instead of body-colored. And you can see we do have a little bit of aerodynamic work to help with airflow around this supposedly fuel-efficient Tacoma. Another additional add-on on our particular tester are these bright red painted ARB rear recovery hooks that are added on as an additional extra, but they are attached to these standard high mount jack lift points on the back bumper, which is standard across the entire Tacoma line in 2 different places back here on the back, no matter what trim you get. Now, I actually had to climb up underneath the truck to show you the last 2 options of our particular tester. First is our rear differential skid plate back here protecting the rear differential. And just ahead of it there, you can see we have the off-road optioned exhaust that dumps out the exhaust ahead of the rear axle. So you can see our muffler is in the middle of the pickup truck, and our exhaust drops down just ahead of that rear axle, giving you a better departure angle here on this TRD Off-Road. Moving to the inside of our Tacoma, you can see we do have the two-tone cloth seats on our TRD Off-Road that are heated, and we do have the heated steering wheel as well, which is come in handy at the first part of December here in East Texas, helping keep me a little bit warmer. And then moving to the back seat, since we do not have the hybrid powertrain, we actually do have rear underseat storage, because this is where the iForce Max's hybrid battery does reside. So that is one thing that you give up for more power and more fuel efficiency, in theory, on the hybrid model. So it is really nice to have this underseat storage, and Toyota does give us these latches here to keep the rear seat up and locked into place, which I am having one heck of a time actually attaching. There we go. So you can button that in place, and now our seat bottom isn't going to go anywhere. Another bit of rear seat storage that Toyota does give you here is behind the rear seats. So we do actually have a latch over there and right here for the back seat, which does fold down flat. And we do have some additional behind the seat storage, but most of it is over there on the passenger side, because we do have the optional JBL sound system, and this is where our subwoofer resides. So yes, unfortunately, you are limited to only one engine choice in order to get this 6-speed manual, but I would say the 270 horsepower and 310 pound-feet of torque you get from that turbocharged 4-cylinder is more than enough for what most city-dwelling trucks actually need. Now, I'll be honest, I did not take this one off-road because I already know the Tacoma platform is very capable when you get off paved roads such as this. So I didn't need to test that all that much, and I really wanted to spend the week living with this one in an urban environment. And I can say that the clutch feel is pretty good, though there is quite a bit of travel, so I do find myself sitting a little bit closer to the steering wheel than I normally would. And then there are some very long throws to this 6-speed manual, but again, it's not a race car. This is not a GR Corolla, which is the last manual transmission I had from Toyota, but it does have another unique feature that I last saw in the GR Corolla, and that is this IMT button right down here. Intelligent manual transmission. Basically, it's rev match. So this has got a lot of built-in technology to help you learn to drive a stick shift, if perhaps this is your first stick shift or manually equipped vehicle that you've ever driven. Another feature is the clutchless start system that I will have to show you here in just a moment, but it uses a lot of the components from that clutch start system to help you not stall out on this. Yes, there is a lot of technology packed into this to make this a really decent manual transmission vehicle to drive around even here in an urban environment. But let's talk about this clutchless start system, why you would need it, and how to use it. Clutch start with clutch scratched out, because this does have a clutchless start system. So there's a little bit of stuff that you have to do in order to make that work. First, put it in first gear. Second, you need to, with your foot on the brake, press the TRD button once, then twice to get it into full power mode, but not actually turn the engine on yet. So you push and hold the clutch start button until you get an orange indicator light. And then, and only then, does the truck actually tell you how this whole system operates, because there is literally nothing in the owner's manual about the manual transmission here. It says, caution, clutch start cancel enabled temporarily. Turn off the parking brake, which I had to put my foot on the brake and push the electronic park brake button, and turn off the engine hold, which I never turned on. It says engine can start in gear, so first gear, but I want to make sure that my foot remains on the brake. stays in first gear, and I push and hold the actual engine start button until the vehicle starts moving. So here we go. And when it starts to turn over is when you take your foot off the brake. So this actually helps you in off-road situations. If you are precariously perched and you do not want to roll back whatsoever, well, that is why you may want to use this no clutch start option here in this Toyota Tacoma. Aside from having a very long travel on my clutch pedal and a very long throw on my 6-speed manual transmission, I actually feel like this is a pretty easy vehicle to drive. It has more than enough power. It does have some backup safeties built into the system to help keep me from stalling it out. And yes, I have driven exclusively a manual transmission for my daily driver for like the past 13 years, and I still stall that one out every once in a while. I have not stalled this one out at all, which is saying something, because I mean, it always happens to us once or twice, right? But here, this one has been very easy to move and to get around town, and I like just being able to quickly put it in the gear I want it in to get up and go in situations like this urban environment where I just want more power, downshift, and go, versus the 8-speed, you kind of have to push it and wait. The last thing I wanted to talk about on this manual transmission is I started my long journey of daily driving a manual transmission with a 2012 Chevy Camaro that had that notorious 1-to-4 skip shift function that I know a lot of owners disliked. And I kind of inherited a very bad habit that has not left me even years removed from having that as my daily driver. Sometimes I find myself starting off in second gear, something that this truck can handle like well. The 310 pound-feet of torque is more than enough to handle all situations, including a start from a dead stop in second gear. Now, perhaps my least favorite thing about the manual transmission is reverse. In order to get to reverse, you have to go all the way over. There's a little bit of a resistance here to get all the way over to the left and then up. That does trigger my backup camera, which we don't have 360 cameras on this. And then it does give me an audible beep to let me know, hey, you're in reverse. But I don't know. I've found myself on a couple of times accidentally getting into reverse instead of first when I'm at a standstill somewhere. I just wish, I don't know, I guess I'm used to the collar lockout mechanism I have on my daily driver's 6-speed manual, and I just feel like this is a little bit clunky when it comes to locking you out of accidentally putting it in reverse. Now, I do want to talk about this video's sponsor in Screen Protect and their line of screen protectors for your vehicle. You can get one using the promo code and the link down in the video description for a significant savings that will help protect your screen not only from fingerprints and smudges, but accidental sliding across the screen, because there is a tackiness to Screen Protect screen protectors that do help you more precisely land on exactly what you are wanting to press and press nothing more. So again, you can get more information via the link and use the coupon code in the checkout located down in the video description below. Well, that about does it for my time in this 6-speed manual transmission equipped 2025 Toyota Tacoma TRD Off-Road. If you want to read more about what I thought of my week in this, head on over to pickuptrucktalk.com. But from the driver's seat of this unicorn of a pickup truck, I will see you down the road.